Hi everyone, Steve of the Amazing here for another Mentalism review. This is the first big release of 2017 that is Second Coming by Ross Tayler and Fraser. Let's get into what's in the book. In the book, the bulk of it is them talking about their method to learn pieces of information that somebody's thinking of that's not written down and completely propless and all of that. Then they find a way to basically eliminate that method from happening. This is different than their previous releases. They basically take common mentalism methodologies, layer them on top of each other so that the process becomes as short as possible, and then with their new kind of thinking, they destroy the process completely. In the book, they will take that method and do, they have an effect called card prediction. This is a force of a playing card. You get a pretty good range of cards that you can force with this concept, and it was one I like. I like it a lot. Think of a card as where you're guessing a card somebody's thinking of. It does have a great way of getting the value of their card, and this is, I'd say, my top three things that I liked from the book the most. You have a reverse name guess where the spectator guesses the name that you've written down. I think this is the best use of the method in the book. You write a name down, set it on the table, and through a process and through a full routine, your spectator takes a guess and then uses their intuition to guess the name. Name guess is where you're guessing the name your spectator's thinking of. And then they have a unwritten, completely propless spectator guessing the name you're thinking of, which is essentially a name force using the method. As well as that, I mean, you're not stuck with just guessing cards or guessing names. You can take the method and use it to guess an object, a zodiac sign, a word, perhaps a month that they were born. A lot of different things. There is a slight language restriction, which they talk a bit more about in the Magic Cafe. Go on the Magic Cafe or ask me a question if you have a worry about language restrictions, and I'll go a bit more into detail off camera, basically. Outside of the core Propless method, they go into a lot of other stuff. There's King's Force routine, which is Ross Taylor's and was released in a previous thing. It's something that worked. It's a full routine of a hands-off card force. Pseudo-Hellstromism is another thing in part 3 of this book that is something I haven't been able to mess with too much just yet, but I do see the merit in it, and it would make it makes it more of a surefire way of doing Hellstromism, and it uses some of the ideas from their core Propless method. Deeper Readings is a card routine in the book. It allows you to give a past, present, and future reading of a spectator, as well as have a little bit of a kicker ending of guessing their card, basically, of guessing their future card. It's nice. I like it. It's simple, but it's a good full routine, and it's one I do see myself performing at some point. Date of birth is a newer iPhone prediction of somebody's date of birth. It's something that maybe you've seen something like it before. And then there is folded paper peek, the ability to get a peek of multiple pieces of information from a folded up billet without any tears or adjusting of the billet. This is something that maybe it's good in theory. I haven't tried it out entirely. I've messed with it a little bit, and it doesn't seem to be working exactly as it's written for me. However, the concept of what they wrote to get the peek is something I am going to use for other peaks I already know, and I think the same might happen for you. It's still something that I've seen a lot of other people get excited about after having read it. I personally haven't tried it out other than testing it a little bit for myself. As well as that, I've mentioned with the method you could reveal star signs. They also have a star sign routine. It's called Knowing Stars. I think it is not as good as the star sign routine that I believe it was them that added to Peter Turner's monthly zodiac sign PDF series. He has a monthly mentalism series one in particular on zodiac signs. I think they have a better contribution in that book than Knowing Stars. Until you add a piece that's about 2 pages, 2 effects later, called Original Peak. They mention how they use that in Knowing Stars, and it becomes the best zodiac sign reveal I've probably ever seen. No, definitely. It's the best zodiac sign reveal I've seen. Basically, in a conversation, without your spectator writing down their star sign, you're able to guess their star sign with no anagrams, no real questions, and it's very conversational. It is an A++, my absolute favorite thing from the book. And you can turn it into a full routine with the material in this book. You can have your spectator guess your star sign. You could then go into a reading with them and then end by revealing their star sign, with their star sign never even being brought up, really. And it's amazing. It's wonderful. Peter Turner also has a few pieces involved in the book. One is Your Lucky Star. That's the ability to give your spectator the ability to guess your star sign or somebody in the room without anything written down. Add that to Knowing Stars, and like I said, you can get a full routine out of it. Pete also has the two-way out involved in the book, and the confirmation principle is also talked about. Those 3 things, I believe, are things that if you followed Peter for a while, you would have seen them at some point before, but they're there so that the book is complete. You don't really need anything outside of this book to be able to do this stuff. It's pretty much a self-contained project. Very quickly, pros and cons. Pro is that Ross and Fraser talk about the silent script. It's paramount to mentalism, really magic too, but paramount to the material in this book, and it's not something I've seen talked about enough. I'm very glad to see that they do a silent script discussion. They have really taken in any kind of criticism they've had from previous releases, and they've made sure to write these effects to where they are as close to 100% as you can get. You know how they give you the how to get into these routines, how to get a cooperative spectator, why to do these effects, when to do these effects, what to do if they fail. They really talk about everything you need in this book to be able to feel confident to do the routines. You will still need to be a confident performer already. This is not going to be for everybody. This isn't going to be for beginners. This isn't even going to be maybe even intermediate. Half of the book could be for intermediate, but the main method would be something that you would want to be a professional or somebody that really believes in their performance. These two are a very good team. They seem to really try to bat the ideas back and forth until they filed everything away except for what's necessary, and give you plenty of outs and other routines and what they do and how to do it. Cons, it is a high price. It's not going to be for everybody. The material in here is not going to work 100% of the time. And those are minimal cons. Value for your money, you are getting a book that reads like a summer blockbuster. You feel the excitement from the authors. You feel the excitement even from the community. I know people have been very excited to get their hands on this book, and I don't think it disappoints. It lives pretty close to the hype that they've sold for the book. And I mean, they put some, it's called the second coming. Like, it's pretty hard to hit that mark, but they get very darn close, and it does feel like a valuable book, and there's a lot of very good stuff in here, and you do get excited reading it, and you get other ideas in your head, and it's going to create some crazy stuff in the next few months throughout the mentalism community. So it is a way to kind of get on the ground floor of all of that. Within 5 years, we'll be talking about these methods as if they're common sense and everything. That's about it. So give me comments if you have any kind of questions. Subscribe to the YouTube page for other reviews. Check me out on Facebook if you want to have a discussion or whatever. Facebook.com/Steve the Amazing. Always like hearing from people. Thank you guys so much. Again, of course, And that's it until next time.